Hi, my name is Jarrett Flan. I'm here doing this for the Kitchener Public Library series, partnered up with Underground Flavor Group. I am currently the executive chef for the Great Canadian Sauce Company, and most recently coming from the Imperial Market and Eatery in New Hamburg. Today I will be taking you through step-by-step how to cook a dish of Lake Erie pickerel en persillade. And it's going to be served with some marinated oyster mushrooms, beets in different variations, some leeks on vinaigrette, and just an awesome kind of butter sauce over top of it all. I hope you guys enjoy. So we're making the vinaigrette here. We're going to use this for a couple of things. It'll be the finish for our leeks on vinaigrette, and it's also going to be to marinate our mushrooms. So it's a really simple, old school French dressing. So we've got some shallots here, right? And we want to just brunoise the shallots, or instead of saying brunoise, you can just cut them really fine. You could do this in a food processor if you're not comfortable cutting things this small, or whatever makes you feel better. But you want a really fine dice on these shallots, just like that. Watch your fingers. Okay. We're just going to run that through one more time just to make sure they're nice and fine. And I'm going to do about half of this other one here. We don't need the entire thing, just a little bit. We're basically looking for about 1.5 tablespoons of chopped shallots here. Again, feel free to use a food processor or anything that makes you more comfortable, or feel free to just slice them and then just kind of dice them all up, again, if this doesn't make you feel comfortable. Okay, so there we go. Again, just going to run them through real quick here again. Okay. Then we're just going to get these into our bowl here. Now we got a garlic clove. For dressings, I like to use a microplane. You could also use a fine cheese grater, or you can just mince this by hand, but I think this is the best way for dressings. Really gets it in there. So we're doing about 1/2 clove of garlic here, but since all garlic cloves are, all sorts of different shapes and all that, we're going to say we're looking for about 3/4 of a tablespoon of rasped garlic. Okay. And we've got this awesome thyme, which we picked out of the garden first thing this morning. We're just going to pick that off the stems. And we're probably looking for, let's say, about a teaspoon. The nice thing about thyme right out of the garden is you don't run into some really woody stems, so you don't have to worry so much about what is actually going into your vinaigrette. Okay, and important with any sort of fresh herbs, we don't want to bruise it, we don't want to pulverize it, we don't want to sit here and just hammer away on it. So we're just going to run our knife through it just a few times. This is a rustic dish, right, that we're going to kind of plate in a refined way, but it's a rustic dish, so you don't want to bruise the herbs. Just nice and fine all the way through, just like that. Don't worry about them being too fine. So that's going into this. We got garlic shallots and the thyme in the bowl. Now we're going to add about a couple tablespoons of red wine vinegar, or sherry vinegar if you have it, right? You can add a nice tablespoon of grainy Dijon mustard. We want the grainy stuff, we want some texture in there. And then we're just going to stir that together. So now we've got that all together. And we're just going to take some olive oil here and just slowly drizzle it in there while you're whisking. This dressing will not emulsify completely, okay, but we want to try and emulsify it a little bit. It will break apart on you, so don't worry about it. Before you go to serve, if this does in fact break apart on you, just give it a quick whisk and you'll be able to get it all back together. Okay, awesome. So now we're going to get our oyster mushrooms done, because we want to get this done nice and early on. We want them to be marinated by the time we are ready. So I'm just removing the big part of the stem there. We get rid of that. And then once we have these, literally just gonna tear them in half with your hands. Don't bother cutting them up. You just want really nice little strips of them here. I'm just gonna tear them in half. Now while I'm doing this, I've got pan heating up over there on the stove. We want to get the saute pan really, really hot. A couple things important about cooking mushrooms. One, super hot pan because you want them to brown, otherwise they will release their water and they'll kind of stew and they won't look very good. And the other thing being is that you never want to season your mushrooms ahead of time. You always season them after they're cooked because you don't want the water to come out until later. So, I'm going to get some olive oil here in this pan. And you want to be generous with the oil. Okay? And we're just going to wait and give it a second until it just starts to smoke. We want it really, really hot. We're just going to really quickly saute these mushrooms and get some brown on the outside, and then while they're still warm, we're going to take them out and we're going to dress them with the vinaigrette that we just made. Oil's nice and hot there. We're just going to take our mushrooms. You want them spread out, so make sure your pan is big enough to fit them all in a single layer. We don't want them stacked up, otherwise again they won't brown properly. Just let them hang out for at least about 45 seconds before you turn them over, because otherwise you're not going to get that brown on them. The brown is key. Now they've been there for a few seconds, we're just going to shake them. Quick shake, a bit, wait for a few more minutes. Again, make sure you move them around if they're not going to be, if they're not all just kind of touching the surface. Again, we want to make sure we get that brown going, right? Wait, kind of toss them around. Keeping the pan at high heat the entire time. These mushrooms are going to cook quick. It's not even going to take 2 minutes, so we're almost done. See here, we've got this really, really nice color on all of them. Exactly what we're looking for. We're almost done here. What this also does is the mushrooms will have a nice chew to them. They'll bring a nice texture to it, rather than them being soft if we cook them just another way and have them kind of stew in their own juices. And you'll see if you've cooked mushrooms before, you usually notice a bunch of water coming out of the mushrooms to the bottom of the pan, right? We don't have that here because we got it nice and hot, and we got this brown coming on the mushrooms. So, mushrooms are done. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take our bowl here, put them in the bowl, and we're just going to very lightly, we don't want a lot, okay, the vinaigrette that we made, we're just going to lightly dress them with the vinaigrette, just about like that much, like half a tablespoon, 3/4 of a tablespoon, somewhere around that. Okay, and then we're going to add just a pinch of salt. Now we're just going to stir these up. And grab a few sprigs of our fresh thyme here. Even though we've got thyme in the vinaigrette, just want to sprinkle a little bit more in there. Like, literally as much as you can pinch between your 2 fingers, basically. That's about it. Okay, and then these mushrooms are going to sit aside until we're ready to plate later on.
Awesome.
Okay. So for our dish today, we have this beautiful piece of pickerel here from Lake Erie. It's one of my personal favorite fishes. We're going to keep the skin on this one. So when you're going to cook the skin on the fish, you want it to be crispy, right? So there's a few steps you can take to make sure that happens. So one, you want to make sure the fish is nicely scaled, right? Fishmonger I got this from, it's really nicely scaled, no worries there. So what you want to do is take the back end of your knife, not the sharp part. Take the back end and you want to just drag it along the skin here. And what you're going to see is you're going to see like this little kind of ooze almost, right? And all you're doing is just kind of keep dragging it across the fish until you don't get that anymore, or you barely get any of it. All right? It's just going to take some of the moisture out of the skin, and it's going to make our skin help make our skin really crispy. So we're just dragging it again. This is also a good way to see if any scales were missed when you scaled the fish. Nice like that. Just a couple more times. See, we're getting less and less here. Now you don't have to do it until it's perfect, but do it as much as you can stand. Okay, so we're almost there. That's good enough for me. So what we're going to do here now, this particular piece of pickerel is what they call a V-cut. So it's already had this little bone rack cut out there, so we don't need to worry about the bones in there. So all we're going to do is we're going to, for this, we're going to remove the belly. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of go straight down here, nice sharp knife, right? As I say that, I'm kind of leaving the skin intact, which is not what I want to do. Okay, so nice sharp knife down the middle there. There we go. Okay. So this is good meat. Don't use that. We can use that for fish cakes. We can use that for fish tacos. We can use that for a lot of things, right? I'm just going to kind of smooth this over here. Now for this particular application, we want to get a couple of nice pieces. So I'm just shaping them again. No need to waste any of that meat, but we want everything to kind of be the same thickness here. So for this dish, I'm going to put this over here, and I'm just going to use this piece of fish right here, and I'm going to cut it into two, and these are going to be our servings. Now, last step for making sure you get nice crispy skin, just taking a paper towel and just really press it in there, right? You want the skin to be as dry as possible. See all that moisture coming off there? Right, we're going to do it again. Just on this side. This will also help if you're a lot of you home cooks out there are afraid to cook fish, because when you cook fish, it always sticks to the pan. Right? Well, there's two reasons that's happening. One is you're not getting the pan hot enough, and two, the fish is too wet. So this will be step one to helping you out. So then I'm just going to put these down here on the paper towel, keep them dry, and I'm going to put them back in the fridge until I need them. So the way we want to prepare the leeks for this dish is, first of all, we only want to use the light green and the white part of the leek. So we're going to take this off right here. Don't throw this stuff away. It's great for stocks. It's great for potato and leek soup, vichyssoise, a whole bunch of other things. So reserve that. Now what we want to do for this, a lot of leek applications, we would take this root end off completely. We don't want to. We want it to help us with what we're going to do. So we're just going to lightly shave these roots off the bottom. Okay, it's going to be very tough. So even with a sharp knife, you just want to kind of go slow. Have it there. So we've still got the root end intact, but we've taken off these because we don't want to eat those, right? And then from there, we are going to take the leek and slice it in half. This is why we want to keep the root end intact. Now we need to wash our leeks. Half here, you can see right here, they're very dirty, right? We've got lots of dirt in there. So all you want to do, warm water, okay? Don't use cold water, use warm water, and just run it over and loosen up all that dirt, right? Just want to make sure that we get all that in there, peel apart those layers, right? Just make sure we get a real good rinse in there. We don't want to eat that. Right, nice rinse in there. Beautiful. Okay, kind of double check. Yeah, we're looking good. And just kind of shake them off in the sink a little bit. And that's how you clean the leeks. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're gonna do beets a few different ways on this dish. And what I like to do is, these are these beautiful Ontario like candy cane beets, right? They're super cool, beautiful on the inside. So I don't want to cook them, right? Because they lose that color when you cook them. They're not quite as nice when you cook them. So I really want some bright and some texture on this dish. So what we're going to do is we're just going to peel these. These are quite small, so they're a little finicky, but peel these beautiful candy stripe beets. And we are going to We're gonna make them into chips. But not, well, kind of like chips. Like we're not gonna deep fry. We're just gonna make them a nice, raw, crunchy beet garnish. But we're not just gonna serve them plain, we're gonna marinate. We've got all this here. This way. Okay. So now we're gonna just cut a little bit off there. And look at that, right? Like, look at how awesome that is. It's so cool. So we're gonna take a mandolin here. If you've never used a mandolin before, please make sure you read the instructions, safety instructions especially. Mandolins are very sharp and they are notorious for cutting yourself. So what we want to do is we've got this guard here for the mandolin, right? We're going to stick the spikes into this beet right here to protect our hand. Whoop. We're going to try that one more time. There we go. And then I'm just going to run it over here and see if we like the thickness. Okay, for me that's too thick. So I'm going to adjust the mandolin here. Be a little thinner. And with our guard, let's check it here. That's nice, right? That's a nice piece right there. Okay. So we're going to cut some of these chips here. Some of these actually had a kind of a gnarly black spot on them here, so we're just going to get rid of those. We've got enough here. So we got a bowl full of ice water. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to dunk these in the ice water. And that's really going to bring out their color. It's going to crisp them up and it's going to cause them to curl just a little bit. It's going to be a really, really nice garnish. And we will marinate them before they go on the plate. So I'm just going to take, I'm a little more confident in myself, so I'm just going to do this without the guard here. I'm going to do the other one here. It's okay to do it without the guard, just make sure you go slow. And be wary, right, of where your fingers are at. It's a very sharp blade. Many a chef has injured themselves on a mandolin over the years. So again, unfortunately not the best with some of these spots in here. Sure, they're still going to taste great, but this is really trying to be a nice bright finishing garnish for this dish. So it is important to me that we use the ones without the black spots. And that's our beet chips for now.
Amazing.
Okay, ready?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, so our beautiful candy stripe beets have been sitting in this water, ice water, for a little bit. So they've crisped up, they have a nice vibrant color. So all we're gonna do, that one's a bit thick, I'm just gonna hear it. All we're gonna do is we're gonna put these into a little container, just like this. And we're not gonna do anything super fancy with them. Okay, we're gonna throw some salt in there. A little olive oil. And our lemon that we zested, half of it. Don't waste that lemon, right? Just gonna cut that in half. And we're just gonna squeeze a little lemon juice in there. Nothing crazy, just like a few drops, like barely even a teaspoon. Okay? And then just gonna stir those together and let them kind of hang out until we're ready to plate this dish. We're gonna stop for a second. To scrape this down. Okay. And again. We want this to be really smooth, so we're going to do it one more time here. And we are going to pass it to make it even smoother by the end. Okay. Just get this in here. Now, because we're almost at the smoothness we want, when we turn it on this time, I am going to throw in a couple small knobs of butter. Now, I'm just gonna scrape everything down. And right now you're looking at still a little bit chunky, but it's okay, we're gonna fix that. Here. I'm trying to take this fine strainer here. Sit over top. Take the blade out to be safe. And then we're going to put this from here, the strainer. And just gonna hold it up and we're just gonna pass it through. Might take a few minutes, be patient, just go slowly. Might seem like there's nothing's happening, it's not going through, but it is, I promise. So we can see, it's starting to come through there, it's nice and smooth. Spatula is a little bit flimsy, so we're going to switch to a spoon here. There we go. Much quicker with the spoon. Okay, that's about as far as you want to take it. Then make sure to flip over your strainer. You're going to see all this on the bottom. Don't waste any of that. Make sure you get that off with the spatula there. Okay. And then that's it. So this is going to be just a really nice beet puree for the plate later on. So now it's time to go to the plate with this. First thing we're going to do is pan, a little bit of olive oil. Get that nice and hot, really, really hot. While that's heating up, we've got our fish over here, and we want to season it with salt. Don't season the fish ahead of time because that's going to bring moisture out into the skin, and that's going to make it not as crispy, right? So we're going to season that. We're going to turn it over, and then we're going to season on this side as well. Okay, just salt. I don't like to put pepper on my fish. If you are going to put pepper on your fish, you should put white pepper on your fish. So while we're waiting for our pan to heat up, our fish has been seasoned. We're going to do the same thing over here with our leeks. Okay, these are the leeks that we poached. We're just going to go a little bit of olive oil on those. And then we're going to hit them with salt. And for these, they're going to get some fresh cracked pepper. Okay. Not much. Okay, and we wait. So, make sure our pan is smoking, right? We want the oil to be super, super hot. Almost to the point where it's going to set on fire. Okay? And then we're going to come over with our fish, skin side down. Hot oil, just like that. We want to kind of press it into the pan just a little bit. I don't want to break the flesh or anything, but just apply a little bit of weight here. If you really want to get serious about this, you could throw it on a piece of parchment paper and you could put a weighted pan on top of it, and that would make your skin ultra, ultra crispy. Most people don't have time for that though, right? So we've given it a few seconds here, and now what we're going to do is we're going to put it straight in the oven without flipping it over. 350-degree oven, okay? While the fish is cooking, I'm going to heat up this pan here. Same thing, a little olive oil. For this, any oil will do, canola oil, vegetable oil. I just like to add a little bit of flavor with the olive oil. Just don't use anything like fancy, like walnut oil or something like that. It's probably just going to light on fire. So yeah, we're heating up the oil. This one we're not going to heat up until it's screaming hot. We just want it to be hot, but not as hot as it was for the fish. Okay? So we're waiting for that to heat up. So So we can take our leeks here. We're gonna flip them over just to make sure they're nice and seasoned, right? We're gonna take them over to our grill. We're just gonna throw these leeks down on the grill. Now remember, they're pretty much all the way cooked. So at this point, we're just really looking to get some grilled flavor, some nice char on them. So now that they've gone on the grill, we come back here and our pan's about the heat that we want it now, right? So all we're gonna do is we're gonna take our beets that we roasted, cut, right? Throw those in there. Season with salt. And we're just gonna give them a quick, we wanna toss them. So they're nice and coated in the oil, right? Then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna open up our oven here. And we're gonna put them down to roast beside the fish. Okay. So we got leeks that got this really nice color on them, right? Not too much char, but this awesome color, right? Perfect, it's gonna be great flavor. I'm gonna set those over down side here. And then we're gonna go into our oven here. At this point, we're gonna check our fish, okay? Fish is looking good. At this point, we're just gonna turn it over. You look at that color, right? Beautiful. So we're gonna turn it over in the pan. Skin's getting nice and crispy. It can go back in. We got our beets here. They're nice too. They just got a little bit of color on the outside. They're nice and hot all the way through, right? Now, okay, so now that our leeks have been grilled, they got the nice color on them. We're gonna hit them with our vinaigrette, right? So we just kind of want to brush it down. Just get it on there. Flip them over. Just like that. That nice flavor on it. Fish is going to come out of the oven. And what you want to do is you want to still have your burner on, right? Okay, so fish is out of the oven. Our Persillade butter that we made earlier, okay? Just going to put that in there. And yes, it's a lot of butter. You don't have to eat it all, but you want it all in the pan, right? And lots of that in there. Now we're just going to swirl it around in this butter. We're going to tilt our pan off the heat, and we're just going to baste this over top, right? I'm going to baste this beautiful butter over the top. It's all melting in there. Again, we're not going to use all this butter, right? The whole idea is that it's just a beautiful flavor. We're going to get all this nice fat and moisture into this pickerel, which is such a nice firm fish to begin with. It's just going to be a beautiful thing, right? So our fish coming out, again, we don't want all that sauce in there, right? We want a nice coating of the Persillade on top of the fish. We will use a little bit of this sauce afterwards. So you can plate this any which way you want. We're gonna have fun with it. I haven't thought this through at all yet, so we're just gonna kind of play with it. So we're gonna throw some of this beet puree down here. And then we're just gonna draw it across the plate like that. Maybe we'll do some more right here. Draw that down. And then we'll take our nice leeks here. I'm just going to lay those down across here. Just like that. Go ahead and clean up after ourselves. Nice. Okay. And take some of these really nice roasted golden beets here, slippery. I'm just going to place those kind of all around the plate. Here. You know what, for fun, we're going to take some more of this. Do a little dot there. Place that on there, just like that. We're gonna go for 5 just because it's always nice it's nice on the eyes to garnish in odd numbers. Okay. So now we're gonna take our fish here. It's just beautiful. We'll put that in there.
piece down right over here. Now we're gonna lay it down right there. That's it, right there. And then get in here with these marinated mushrooms from way back. We're just gonna throw these nice oyster mushrooms on the plate. Just all around like this. Just kind of make something big and bright and just kind of screams like end of spring, start of summer. Right. And then just to kind of brighten things up, lay some of these guys down here. Our little marinated candied beet chips. One more just for fun. Just like that. And then we will take this nice butter that's kind of brown from Persiod right here. Cooking the fish in it. We're just gonna take a little bit. Oh, we're just gonna hit our whole plate with it. A little bit more on the fish, kind of around, get all the flavor.